really emotional about this.
I'm gonna cry. We're all gonna cry. Little dogs actually do it for me more than babies do. Babies don't really make me cry, but dogs do.
She's been so awesome, like just her companionship, and she comes with me to work, and she's been so healing also. Hey, don't bite me though, that hurts.
Okay, I think Shauna's gonna hop off. She had planned to go home, but her kids have changed those plans. Well, kids will do that, right? Okay, well, yeah, if people want to start rolling in, love that. So welcome to this women's circle, pleasure and prayer. It's just really great, actually, just to have a space for us to all connect when, you know, some of us are in LA and some of us are in San Diego. And yeah, we really just wanted to create a space that we could open up conversation around the practice of pleasure and around the practice of prayer. And yeah, just having a safe space for women to be able to come and share our voices and just connect to ourselves and connect to each other. So yeah, it feels really beautiful to have you all here, and then yeah, to be able to share this with the women that can't jump on, that have you know, busy schedules and lives, and but that are going to take time out for themselves later. So yeah, I just feel really stoked to be here, and that Madison and I literally created this with not a lot of time. So yeah, kudos to us, because we were just talking and we just wanted to create a space of safety. It actually popped up from a live conversation that we were having with Catherine, who is, you know, beautiful client, a beautiful friend, and a beautiful sister. And yeah, just having more spaces where we can have conversation and dialogue and share beautiful practices and empower ourselves and empower one another. So yeah, welcome. So I think that I mean, I'll just dive into like a little bit of my story, and what kind of brings me here, and what brings us like into this space, because as I was saying, it's really a space of safety, and being able to tap into our pleasure, tap into these practices, tap into our bodies, and be able to empower ourselves and empower and strengthen our voices. And it's our voices as, you know, in our own sovereign voices. But I think when we come together in spaces like this, we really strengthen the collective voice. And we really allow this space for women to be able to, yeah, to speak into their truth. And I know for me, it was kind of it's been a lifelong journey with having parents who were abusive, alcoholic, narcissistic. I grew up in a really violent household. My voice really wasn't encouraged to be heard at all. And I was presented with a lot of very confusing situations around like love and sex and pleasure. I experienced and saw some really traumatic things, you know, even by the time that I was 5. So it was a journey for me to really find spaces of pleasure. Like there was a lot of struggle, and there was a lot of trauma, and like I said, there was a lot of violence. And so it's it has taken me a really, really long time, up until kind of my early 30s, to figure out what pleasure really was, for me. I thought that pleasure for me, having seen a lot of sex, and a lot of like sex and violence, I was really confused about what pleasure was. I really wasn't connected into my own body, or like the pleasure that I could find within my own body. And so I seeked it, outside of myself. I sought pleasure from men. I sought pleasure from sex, because it was kind of what I was shown. I sought pleasure, or more so distraction and escapism, from drinking, from shopping, from like all of these pleasures outside of myself. Because I had never really been taught that pleasure is something that is really cultivated, from the inside. And pleasure is also being able to experience the sound of your own voice, in the pleasurable thing. Violet, sorry, I'm looking at Violet, and she's like, Violet is pleasure. So yeah, it's been a really long journey for me, like into my early 30s. I now am 41. So it's been 14 years of finding pleasure in practices with myself. And so what we're going to be going into as well, in the rest of this like circle, and opening up the discussion around, is like really what is like pleasure to you, and what is pleasure beyond sex, beyond the kind of connotations of what we deem pleasure to be, which is usually sex, and coming back to like, what is pleasure on a whole, and how can we tap into those pleasurable experiences every day, and then how can we voice that pleasure out into the world. Because like I said, it's not just our own voice or our own sovereign journey. We gain so much strength by sharing that. So the practice of pleasure is being able to use our voices, and use our voices collectively as these really empowered women. So that's a little bit about my journey, and I'm gonna hand it off to Madison, and she can share a little bit about hers.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing, Stace. Similar to Stace, I had a lot of, growing up, I just associated feelings of shame around my own pleasure. I felt like I couldn't receive pleasure unless I gave something outside of myself, which usually had to deal with men and pretty like emotionally abusive relationship dynamics were playing out. Majority of like my teens and early 20s, I suppressed my voice for majority of my life because I felt like it was not safe. And a lot of times it wasn't safe, just in the environments that I grew up in, and the conditioning around utilizing the power of our voices and our expressionism. So I built up walls, and I built up a lot of energetic blockages in my body to keep me safe, but they were inevitably making me sick and tired and depressed and anxious and all of these things. And eventually, those things manifested into like physical ailments where, I've been balancing low thyroid issues for majority of my 20s now, and some health issues related to my gut. And so, it's just so important for us to now be at this place where we're, okay, I'm ready to like let myself feel like the pleasure and bliss of life and thrive, like truly live these lives thriving. And I'm just really excited to jump into some of these practices that Stace utilizes within herself and has shared with me. And It's just really, really powerful tools to incorporate into, your daily rituals, and kind of like just continue to amplify the power that's already within us. So
Yeah. So yeah, I would love to, I think before we go into, I'd just love to know, Jacqueline, Isabel, what is pleasure? Like what is your experience with pleasure? Like what is pleasure to you? And do you experience pleasure, would you say, like on a daily basis? Just interested about the practice of like your own pleasure practice, and then just also the prayer, like how do you kind of speak into your pleasure practice, and is it something that shows up for you on a daily basis, or when was the last time that you experienced pleasure? Popcorn share.
Okay. Okay. I'll go first. Well, two things pleasure me. One is I'll talk about the mind and the body. For me, I get so much pleasure in getting really deep in conversation with someone and kind of like dissecting where they came from, why they do things. I'm a big why person. All my life, I've always been asking why. So for me, like I'm always researching or trying to get to the bottom of things. And I love getting drunk in the power of words. So that's, my mind gets so much pleasure when I can get into the minutia and just see things. On a physical level, if, it's not with a partner, I practice chakra alignment and attunement and activation. So I can roll my chakras and feel it light up, and that physically is very pleasurable to me, and I practice that often. And when I'm with a partner, I do that too, and it's very effective when you're with someone, and you can light yours and theirs up.
Oh, I love that. I love that you just did the whole, mind, body, and then this kind of sexual spirit path. Yeah, that's really beautiful. And is it something that you experience? I mean, it sounds like you experience it frequently. It sounds like it's something that you experience.
Well, I don't have a partner now, and sex is very sacred, so I'm just not going to have it. So I will practice on my own the circular technique, and it brings pleasure too. Just right, like different pleasure, right? So, but the more we enhance our chakras and activate it and learn to move it, the more pleasure we feel overall, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jacqueline.
Thank you.
Isabel.
Hi. So as far as my pleasure goes, I feel like that's a category that I haven't really focused on when it comes to myself in the past maybe 4 years or so. So I've been actively playing, like I just started taking tennis lessons, and then I'll go skating on my roller skates. So I feel like I've been trying to find things that I love to do growing up that bring me pleasure. And the more I dive into that, the more I realize that I enjoy being active. So if I'm moving and enjoying what I'm doing, like I'm not just, doing something mundane that's not very exciting, then excuse me. I feel like for me, I get a lot of joy out of that. I kind of feel like, when it comes to self pleasure, for me, I went through a period where it was very important. And right now I'm in a weird space of it where I don't have a partner. And I've been celibate for like a year and a half now. So for me, it's just because I feel like in the past, the way I seeked pleasure was always with a partner or was with somebody. And I felt like the only way I could get it was that way. I've been on a different type of pleasure journey where it's weird because if I would have heard myself saying this in my 20s, I would have never believed it. But I'm not seeking temporary gain anymore. So in that regard, it's more learning what I enjoy doing outside of what I perceived pleasure to be, because in a lot of the dynamics that I was in, kind of going back to, I'm so sorry, I can't remember. Oh wait, I can look at everybody here because I can see everyone's names. It was Madison who was saying, like with unhealthy partners, and I felt like I always had to give to receive pleasure, right? So there was always something that, and Stace said this too, that if I wasn't giving, I really didn't feel pleasure. And I'm in the service industry also, right? So I'm constantly giving. Ow, that hurt. That really hurt me. I know that you're excited, but that really hurt. Don't do that. You have this. She's so excited because I'm moving my hands around and teething right now, and I'm the one that she bites the hardest. So anyway, but yeah, so I'm learning what I enjoy to do. Stop it. Outside of what the perceived pleasure has been. And I think part of that is to also connecting with women and connecting with like-minded women, because that's something that has taken me time to develop, like-minded and close relationships with women that aren't related to me, right? So because I come from a really big family, I feel like the idea was always like, oh, you just stay close to your family and that's about it. And as I've gotten older, I've kind of gone through my relationships with women in the sense of learning that, I don't want to say that not everybody has your best interest, but learning that I want to enjoy my time and energy with others, but also make sure that we're all in the same mind frame, that it's not like I'm going to take and you're going to give and vice versa. I want it to be mutual exchange. So.
Oh, I just want to add something. With Chiron in my first house, which is the physical body, that's how I heal my physical body through the wounded healer. Twice a month, I get a full body massage. And on the full moon, or around the full moon and around the new moon, I take a bath with rose petals and essential oils that are flowers. So I put jasmine, rose oil, and what's the other one I have here? 3 different type of flowers. And then I buy 2 dozen roses, red and pink, and I throw the petals in there. And I put crystals that I like in there too, to infuse, sending all the love, opening my chakra, sending it to the crystals. And I listen to kirtan music, and I have candles. So I'm a very ritualistic person when it comes to my physical body. So I do these things, and then I take the crystal, because it's infused with my love now, and I put it on my spiritual altar. So Even though I don't have a partner, I make sure that my masseuse touches my body and gives me pleasure in different ways.
Beautiful.
You're both speaking into all these things, because it's literally what we were talking about as, you know, pleasure. It you know, it can be kind of misconstrued as pleasure is just like sexual pleasure. And really it's not, you know, and you both have spoken, you know, so beautifully into that it's not just sexual pleasure, you know, it's also pleasure comes from joy, pleasure comes from fun, pleasure comes from, you know, enjoyment, and pleasure comes from indulgence, you know, indulging in, yes, like I want someone to touch me and to massage me, and this self-satisfaction of life, you know, and feeling alive. And I love that you've both spoken into that. Because yeah, really, you know, and coming back to like your inner child as well, you know, it's like, well, children experience so much pleasure. You know, they blow bubbles, they watch leaves like fall from trees, they spin around in circles, you know, children have such a capacity for being in the pleasure of life.
Yeah.
And yeah, I know that there's a couple of like journal, I don't know if you guys have got journal prompts, or if we maybe just want to talk about it, but I know that that Madison has got a couple of good questions here that we can ponder over,
Sure.
and then move into a really juicy practice after.
I love contemplation. I'm a gene key person.
Love it.
Contemplate all the time.
Beautiful. Well, I feel like we've really like already driven into some of the questions that I wanted to ask. So I guess I will just further ask, like, what does pleasure mean to you and for you outside of a sexual context? And like, really, what is it that makes you feel the most alive? So like, Isabel, I love that you touched on the inner child. Like, you're already so like tapped into that. Okay, like, what was I doing as a kid that just brought me innate joy and fun and bliss, you know, where I didn't even have to think about this, okay, give, receive kind of energy. Like I just was embodied in my joy and my pleasure. So like, what makes you feel the most alive? Like, you know, swimming in the ocean or taking a bath and feeling the water on your skin, playing with your pet or cuddling up with someone. You know, what are these little moments in life that may feel really little, but they actually are so big because they provide us with so much pleasure and joy, like in those simple moments that we may like have forgotten to like think about, you know, to really just kind of like ponder, like, okay, wow, like I feel really fucking good. And I get to feel this good in this simplicity. Like that is just pure bliss. So yeah, I mean, I feel like we could just kind of like open it up, unless you guys want to think about it for a few minutes and write down if you have something available to write in.
I mean, I think you said, Matt, sometimes it's just something so simple. Like sometimes it's just hearing a really funny comedian that just gets our lives, you know, as a mom, as a woman, or whatever it is. Like they just get it spot on, and they just make the best jokes, and you just get to belly laugh from it. Like that's just so pleasurable to me.
Yeah.
And it's so simple. It could be like something on Facebook or Twitter, you know, that comes through. It's like a 30-second bit, but you're like, oh my God, I gotta run and go pee or I'm gonna wet my pants.
So pleasurable about like almost wetting myself when I'm laughing, you know, it's like,
yeah.
You know, Isabel, me and you have like had these moments where you know, we're in the cocoa with the dojo, like having these moments where Isabel was actually like in with that in ceremony, and it was, you know, I mean, it was like 4 a.m. or something.
Yeah, it was.
We were sharing a bed, and we were just laughing, like laughing about, you know, and you know, when you meet who just has that same like kind of sense of humor as you, and they say something, and they say something, and then they say something, and all of a sudden you're literally like doing this fucking like routine.
Yeah.
We should be filming this shit like
Yeah.
Or you meet, like, one thing I love about the English is their dry humor. Like they just drop one line, right? And you're just like, oh my God, like I gotta run to the bathroom. That is so hilarious what you just said.
There's so much pleasure, like for me, and I've spoken to Madison about it as well. And I feel like, Jacqueline, like you're very similar in that it just those moments of being like really silly.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, again, it comes back to like when you're a kid, you know, and you like fart noises, you know.
I know.
These functions are so pleasurable because they bring you like so much joy, and you can like laugh at it, you know, and you don't feel like you have this sense of like judgment, or, you know, like, oh my God, like someone's gonna hear that. You're literally like,
Yep. Yeah, I think the two things that really unite us is tears and laughters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we're crying and someone else gets it, and it could be crying because of pleasure or because we're sad. Like it's very pleasurable, and then when we're laughing, that unites us too. And there's something about that commonality between those two emotions, or release
you're right, the release of it, and
of laughters and tears.
It's like it's like the pleasure and the prayer of life, you know. Experience both, and there's such an aliveness to both of them. So I love that we're all just like on the same wavelength. And I feel like we really get to deepen into what pleasure is, you know, outside of just outside of, you know, like sexually, what pleasure is, because the more that we actually tap to that, like the more that we tap into the areas of our lives that we are experiencing pleasure just in every day, you know, it allows us to like lead into where we can experience pleasure sexually, you know, whether it's like within ourselves or whether it is within a partner, but just making and allowing pleasure to be an everyday experience, and to really give space, you know, to just witness like those moments, and witness where like you can feel like the breeze on your skin, and you can feel the grass beneath your feet, you know, or you spend like an hour like, you know, like giggling and laughing, you know, with a friend. It's all of these moments in life that bring us so much closer to that experience of pleasure, that then allows the normality and allows our body to have that muscle memory of, oh, okay, well, I can then feel a deeper sense of pleasure within myself, within these practices, and then be able to share that with someone, you know, in your life, if that feels open and available to you. But it's such a deep and sacred act, and it is really like this act of how can we pray through pleasure, and how can we pray, you know, with our bodies. So I would love to take us all on a little journey, and we can really connect back into our body and into the safety of what it feels like to feel pleasure in our body. And then we're going to deepen that through movement, through sound, we can only really feel this deepness of pleasure when we do feel safe. So I just want to start us all off with dropping into our body, into our vagus nerve. So we're going to connect into our breath. We're going to use our hands to feel and place onto our body. When we do this, we through deeply breathing, through placing our hands onto our vagus nerve, we actually remind our body that we are safe. And when we feel safe, our pleasure receptors, they actually can fire. Without safety, our pleasure receptors do not switch on. So just wherever we all are, just taking a moment just to actually regulate to the room that is around you. So maybe if you have your eyes closed, just reopen your eyes. So we're just regulating to the space that's around us. So just taking in the ceiling, the floors, taking in the space that is around us and knowing that we're safe in this space. And then dropping your eyes down. So closing down the eyes, dropping into the body. Violet will feel this sense of safety and calm as well. And so allowing our attention and our focus to drop into the body, taking in a deep breath through the nose and expanding through our belly. And then allowing yourself to breathe out for 4, 3, 2, 1. And taking another deep breath in through the nose, expanding this time through the belly and the chest. So taking a deep breath in and expand out. Let your breath go with a sound or a deep exhale or a hum. And on this breath, we're deeply breathing in our nose through for 4. And then releasing with a sigh and a little shake of the shoulders. Sitting up. So on these breaths, so we're going to breathe in and place our hands on our belly. So this is where our diaphragm is. And so the vagus nerve, which is responsible for our parasympathetic nervous system, it's responsible for rest and digest. It actually ends in our diaphragm. It moves up through our heart and it passes by our larynx and in our throat. So when we hum, when we sing, when we speak, when we're actually breathing and sending the sound down through these 3 areas, we're telling our body that it is safe. We're telling our body that it is safe to feel, and we're telling our body that it is safe for our voice to use our vocal frequency to bring ourselves back to this space of safety so that we can then deepen into pleasure. So taking a deep breath in, hands on our belly. When we breathe out, we're going to hum. So it's a When you're ready, bring your hands to your heart, deep breath in through the nose. And we're humming through our heart space. And then the last deep breath in, we're going to place our hands over our throat. So you can place them on either side. Deep breath in through the nose. Humming through the throat. And then just allowing your awareness. So just notice how you feel in your body. Are you feeling a little looser? Does it feel a bit more pleasurable to be in your body? Do you feel softer? So allow yourself just to notice. And maybe take yourself into those experiences of your inner child playing and laughing. What brings you joy? What brings you those indulgences? What brings you enjoyment, fun? And allow that feeling of softness and of pleasure to move down your body, settling in your womb space, settling in your yoni, and bringing that feeling of pleasure. Maybe allowing it to move in your hips, create some heat. So coming from that space of other pleasurable parts of your life and allowing them to sit now in your yoni, in your womb. And maybe asking yourself, where am I holding back from feeling the sensation of pleasure? And what is really scary about unleashing myself and really feeling pleasure, sensual pleasure, power? Allowing yourself to tap into this space between your thighs, in your yoni, in your womb, in your space of creation. And so we're going to do a practice. Dropping in, back down to the womb. I want you to start with one hand on your heart and the other hand, place it on your space. And breathing in through the ear channel.
Stace, it's a little hard to hear you.
We can't hear you, Stace. It's coming out warble.
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So we have one hand on our heart, one hand on our womb. We've created a clean channel up through our vagus nerve so we know it is safe in our body. I'll invite you to draw a breath back in through the nose and deeply inhale for 4 seconds. And then deeply exhale through your mouth, making a loud, audible sigh. Inhale for 4. And exhale for 4, letting out some sound. Bringing attention to softening through your jaw. Inhale and filling up your belly with breath. from your yoni. So we're breathing all the way in. Bring it up, allow it to move through your body. Back to places of pleasure, of running, jumping, laughing. Sound it out with a moan. And now bringing your attention to the breath. The breath cycle is coming up to your breath. Starting from your yoni, coming up through your chest. Exhale. So doing this a few times. Side to side, an open mouth, audible. What brings you pleasure? What brings you joy? Feel it in your body. Oh, use your voice and tone it out. So important to open it. Activate our throat chakra. Connected into our womb. Connected into the higher frequency. And so start to move your whole body in the space. And if you want some space, you can get up. You can start dancing, breathing in. So we're scanning our body and breath in the bottom now through your feet. And exhale, release. Release it down your body, down your feet. Feel if there's any tension that is holding your body. Bring some touch to it. Bring touch to your body. This sensual pleasure of touch. How do you like to be touched? Give that to yourself. Is it a soft caress? Do you like to be squeezed? Do you like to be bitten by violet? Maybe it feels pleasurable to laugh, to use your voice, and giggle, and sigh. Oh. Now bringing breath and noticing anything in the body. Does it feel tight? Do you feel tension? Do you feel micro tension? Wherever you feel the most lock in your body, I want you to put your hand on that part of the body and breathe into it. Really feel into the sensations. Where are you holding yourself back? Where could this pleasure be experienced in your body? Where can this pleasure ripple out into the rest of your life? Allow yourself to breathe in and take yourself back to those experiences. Roller skating, painting, massage, thinking, beautiful conversation, laughing. Inhale it into your body and exhale it and fill up the cells with fresh breath. Coming back to your womb, coming back to this space of creation, breathing in, filling up the cells through your body with fresh breath. Exhale a loud, audible sound of pleasure in the space that you get to be heard. Oh. What does emotion sound rises into your body? Pleasure can also be anger. Pleasure can be expression. Pleasure is movement. Pleasure is shaking. Pleasure is sensual. Maybe it's sexual. Maybe you want to start touching yourself in a sexual way because that's what you desire. Now move together. There's pleasure, sometimes pain, of love, of joy, movement. Keep breathing it in. Keep giving it a sound. How does it sound? Inviting some spinal movement. Inhale. Arch your back. Exhale. Stick out your tongue. Now you're relaxed. Inhale. And arch your back. Exhale. Arch and roll forward. Stick out your tongue. Feel your yoni relax. Opening up the central channel for pure life force. Pleasurable energy to move through you. Noticing any tension in the spine, the lower back start to move. Breathing in. Imagine you have no bones. You're a snake. Moving and flowing. And if a snake makes a noise of pleasure, it is any vocal expression that you want to bring in. I'm going to invite you now to start moving your body and touching yourself in a way that feels most nourishing and sensual. And with your fingertips all over your body, really connect to this vessel. Slow all the way down. Let the music and the movement of your prayer activate and maybe sound out. Touch yourself in the way you want to be touched. Touched by the universe, touched by a lover, slowing it down, letting out these sounds. Maybe coming onto all fours. Inhale. Exhale. When we give this pleasure a sound, allowing ourselves to affirm, pleasure is my birthright. Feeling good makes me feel magnetic. Amazing. It is my main priority to feel good, to feel pleasure. Pleasure is productive. I celebrate myself so deeply in this self-love. Turn myself through pleasure the fuck on. I am joyful, I am silly, I am giggly, I am divine celebration of the reclamation of my body, of my mind, of my soul. Pleasure is productive. Pleasure is my birthright. Pleasure is the prayer of my body. Allow yourself to feel it. Feel this pleasure. We are moving affirmation from experience of just words to an embodied practice. And embodiment is everything, because when you can somatically feel these affirmations as truth in your body, it will land faster. You are convincing your body and your subconscious mind that it is already here. So link the affirmation that you are desiring the pleasure in your subconscious mind, and it will come faster and with more ease. So what do you want? Pleasure is productive. Pleasure is my birthright. It is good to feel good. Pleasure and feeling good makes me magnetic and gorgeous and amazing. Pleasure changes your brain waves and opens neural pathways to be more malleable and more receptive to new beliefs. So what are these beliefs that you are bringing into your life? Pleasure. Pleasure is available to me. Pleasure is coming to me in partnership, in divine union. Pleasure is in every single moment of my breath and of my existence. Caressing your body and breathing. Connect into the high vibrational frequency of pleasure coming up through your yoni. Sounding it into the space. Allow yourself the softness and the space to slow down. Repeating after me wherever you are. Place your hands where you feel that you need them most. Feeling good is my religion. Pleasure is my birthright. Pleasure is productive. Feeling good and tapping into my pleasure makes me magnetic. And through pleasure, my worthiness has been activated in a way that I have never felt before. So this practice of affirming and moving these affirmations from the experience of just words, of just saying them to yourself in the mirror, and actually bringing them into an embodied practice through sound, through tapping into the feeling of pleasure. You somatically feel the affirmations as truth in your body. And because pleasure changes your brainwaves and opens these new neural pathways, they become more malleable and more receptive to these new beliefs. This new belief that pleasure is your birthright. Pleasure is available to you. Pleasure is power. Pleasure is tapping into this powerful sexual and sensual energy. As you move these affirmations and these pleasurable touch through your body, it also connects you to Mother Earth, connects you to Gaia, and it carries the most high vibrational frequency. Pleasure is our birthright. Pleasure is what we came here for. So I want you to breathe in all together this feeling of pleasure, particles through your feet, all the way through your body. Feel the tingle, the aliveness of being, and then with the most audible sound of pleasure, groan it out into the And when you're ready, open your eyes, open your hearts.
Thank you.
How do we feel?
Good. Grounded.
Lucid. Less tense.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, and I'll share the songs and the affirmations, and I would also invite you to bring things into this pleasure practice. You know, this has been a really beautiful heart opening, and also like it's really opened up my hips and my yoni and my sex organs and my creativity through this practice of movement and vocalization and liberation, and being able to bring different things into it, like roses, you know, like dancing with a rose and really appreciating the beauty of the rose and infusing and imbuing it into your body as you move, like feathers, like Vishchakapa, you know, things that you can bring touch in with so that you're feeling it so much more in your body. As you're affirming this pleasure practice, it will just like not only, you know, heighten the experience, but it actually allows your body to absorb the affirmations, to bring you to that space of pleasure, just more exponentially. Like it just speeds it up. And when we're in that state of pleasure, then we can magnetize. You know, we can bring so many more things magnetically into our lives from that state of pleasure. So a state of pleasure, and then get playful with it. Like pleasure and play is prayer, is a practice of prayer. So yeah, thanks everyone for coming on that little journey with me. I love that you're feeling soft, and I love that you're feeling grounded in your body. And yeah, I would really love to see, as that practice deepens, how much more you are allowing yourself to feel like different sensations, and then how much more you're unleashing yourself from this really pleasurable and sensual place, and how it kind of shows up in your life. So yeah, I'll definitely share those affirmations and share the song and the pleasure practice, and yeah, see how it see how it changes you.
Yeah.
How often would you recommend to do that practice? Like, would you say it just depends on how you're feeling with it, or like a weekly thing, a daily thing?
For me personally, like doing that, I mean, putting on like a playlist. I mean, when I was honestly, when I was single, and, you know, on this sovereign journey, like that was part of my self-pleasure practice. Like almost every day I would actually like wake up in the morning and I would put a song on, and then I would actually do that practice like lying down, and then, you know, bring like a feather or bring a rose like into it and just do it lying in bed. And I would do it every morning, and it was the most amazing way to start my day. And then affirm, you know, how I wanted pleasure to show up for me. within that practice. So it was like a daily affirmation, an embodied movement, a vocal practice. Jacqueline, like you could bring your chakra like alignment into it, you know, by really like opening up all of the different chakras, or the chakras that you feel like you really want to expand in. You just start breathing to them more. Honestly, like, and I'm not going to say that it was what brought in like my partner, but I was like pretty, I was like experiencing some next level pleasure particles, you know, throughout my life doing that. So I would say doing it as like a daily practice doing anything as a daily practice like really strengthens your dedication, you know, to pleasure, and because you're doing it as a prayer.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say like whatever feels good for you. And, you know, it can also be putting a song on and like skipping and, you know, giggling around the room like to it, and, you know, getting other people involved in it, you know, get little Miss into it. Like she would love it. Kids are like the best pleasure receptors.
Yeah, I feel like I get a lot of like going back to inner child, like my inner child plays with her a lot, you know, if I'm in that energy. But sometimes, and I feel like lately I've been in a little bit more of a serious energy. So I've had to like snap myself out of it so that I can play with her.
Yeah. And I think also, you know, because the practice also doesn't have to be anything, you know, that long. It can also just be recognizing, okay, where can I sit more deeply in intimacy, you know, of these moments. And it might be with her, you know, it might be like, oh, let's play with some Barbies. Like that feels pleasurable to me. Where am I kind of showing up like too seriously? Pleasure shows up in like so many different ways. And I think it's just allowing ourselves that the slowing down and the stepping back, and then knowing those things that we actually want to bring more of into our life, you know, so it can be like more connection, and more connection with sisterhood, you know, it can be, you know, as beautiful as having that connection of sisterhood with your daughter.
Yeah.
And then everything fills out from there.
Mm-hmm.
More pleasure and play.
Yeah, I think that kind of going back to what we were saying in the beginning, you know, reframing that pleasure is not just sexual, and I had thought about like expression, you know, being able to express myself, and the past few years really like with my wardrobe and making it more colorful, because for such a long time my industry was like, you have to wear black, just black, and it makes you look professional. And it's like, that's like, black is cool, but I'm way more than just black, you know. So
yeah, I mean, that's definitely, it's like, it's all part of the practice, right, of like what brings us pleasure. And I know, as you know, for myself and Madison as well, it's like, yeah, the expression that you have within you know, your wardrobe, because it allows you to express in ways that, you know, that other things just can't. There's like such, I find it so pleasurable in being able to you know, express different sides of myself, and to express through color and to express through my hair. And there's so many nuanced ways that pleasure, and then that being part of your prayer, like, you know, it's your everyday practice, how it shows up for you. So I love that it's actually just, it's so simple, but it just sometimes takes us allowing the space to create the conversation around it. to realize that, oh my gosh, yeah, my life is so pleasurable. There are so many pleasurable things, and I'm kind of missing out on all of these things because I think that it's only, you know, this one, there's only one source of pleasure, you know, which is within relationship, which is just so not true.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I feel like it gives me a different way to be grateful, like to be grateful for the pleasure, right? Because I feel like I try to find gratitude in each day, and I'm not always thinking I'm grateful to feel the feelings that come with pleasure, the joy and all of that.
Mm.
This puppy right here she's being so silly right now. She's cracking me up. You silly girl. Yeah.
Puppies and pleasure.
Yeah.
A masterclass.
Seriously. You're gonna be a little pleasure healer. Yeah.
It could be I mean, you know how they have like yoga with goats and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like that brings people like so much pleasure in.
Yeah.
They get to laugh and like being around animals, and so yeah, I mean, pleasure is such a spectrum, right? Like pleasure really has such a spectrum, and it's about being able to like to tap into, I think, all of the spectrum, or to be aware that there is the spectrum. And yeah, you can be grateful. And so this is where I think my practice had shifted from, you know, having like a gratitude journal and being grateful to actually being, you know, in this, just my mantra is really like pleasure is our birthright. Like pleasure is our birthright. It is something that we have access to, and it's open and available to all of us. Instead of thinking, you know, oh yeah, I'm really grateful for that. I'm like, oh yeah, like that gets me juiced up. Like that is so fucking pleasurable. Like watching a tree like dance and like move in the breeze, and the leaves shimmer, and like, holy fuck, I get like so turned on by that. I'm like, oh yeah, nature.
Oh, it's so cute. My mom literally mentioned that today because the sun was peeking through on the trees and the wind was picking up and it looked so beautiful. My mom just goes, oh, look at those trees, like glistening in the sun. It's like diamonds sparkling.
Oh.
Like, yes. You know, it's like our imaginations, it's so powerful. Like that is play right there. You know, I think about as a kid, I had this imagination that just, yeah, it ran wild. It was like limitless. And it was so fun to live in that reality of just like pure play of imagination. It's like, let's bring that back, you know?
Like going into, you know, remember like when you were little, I mean, sometimes like I even do it now, you know, when you go into your friend's closet, but like when you were younger, you know, and you would go into like your mom's closet, or, you know, you would like put her like high heels on and dress up, and that was like your, you know, way to express, and there was something so pleasurable about like being in that, being able to express like through your imagination and be creative and, you know, have fun in that. So the invitation is, and should always be, how can we do that? Like, how can we step into that more? How can we step into those pleasurable experiences more, of just allowing us more fun, more excitement, more joy, more play? And yeah, I'm just stoked that we have like these spaces, and that we are able to like have these conversations and have these practices that allow us to actually do that and to share it with other people. So yeah, thank you all for being part of the
Thank you so much for having us and sharing this practice with us.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah. like I said, we'll send out the email, and I'm going to pop in. So for the people who signed up but weren't able to attend, we'll pop in the recording. So you guys will get the recording as well, the affirmations and the playlist, and just a little bit about how to tap into like more pleasure within your practice. And we are, like we were saying at the start, before the recording, we are going to be running a amazing 2 nights, 3-day women's retreat in Joshua Tree. And so we are going to be like really diving deeper into these practices like Shakti activation, tapping into like your sensuality, these sacred practices of pleasure. And so yeah, it's this Friday, so we have kind of this week. But yeah, if either of you know of anyone, or if there's anyone that's going to be watching the recording that would love to connect more with a really beautiful community of women and be led through these practices, sit more with these beautiful plant medicines and these plant medicine teachers, let us know. We have $200 off for anyone that signs up, and also a free session with Madison and myself. So yeah, that's available for anyone that's going to be watching the replay, or if you refer anyone, we'd love to help you out. We're just really dedicated to creating spaces for women to feel embodied and feel empowered and to feel more fucking expressed in their truth and in their feminine power. So yeah, we just want to be able to share that with as many amazing women like yourselves as possible.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay, I have to get going because I have a call right now at 8 with someone.
Well, thanks so much
Okay.
for being here this whole
you,
time.
Okay, thank you. See you soon. Bye.
Bye. Thank you. We're ending now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Love you.
Bye. Love you. Bye.